Zuber. I'm News Director, KELLYZUBER. And we may also hear from Victor Cardwell. He's our legal counsel. Victor, VICTOR, Cardwell, CARDWELL. Victor Cardwell. 2 minutes coming up.
Straight up. Need Brian. Brian, you want 2 weeks? My name is Jeff Marks. I'm the President and General Manager of WDBJ Television. Thank you for allowing us to do this all at once. We were bouncing from interview to interview and earlier today, and it just got so time consuming we were maybe taking our eye off the ball here at the company. So we're going to share some thoughts with you and some information. And first I want to answer a question that everybody's been asking today. Kelly Zuber, the news director, about the pins.
Yes. We're wearing ribbons today, and we'll continue to wear those as long as we can. They represent Adam and Allison. The maroon represents Virginia Tech and Adam's love for Virginia Tech, and the teal was just Allison's favorite color. So one of our reporters, Nadine Mazer, put these together for us, and we appreciate her efforts, and it really helps solidify our feelings about them and show everyone how we feel.
Thank you. A lot of questions have been asked about the employment situation of Vester Flanagan, also known as Bryce Williams. So I wanted to put it together in a statement, and we will distribute copies of the statement. I want to thank the WDBJ 7 team for coming out and joining us for this, because we're all in this together. I'm going to read the statement, be glad to take questions and about anything regarding what happened yesterday. Vester Flanagan was employed by WDBJ 7 as a reporter between March 2012 and February 2013. He applied for the position using the air name of Bryce Williams. As part of WDBJ 7's standard policy and protocol for background checks, we received only positive references. Flanagan's job performance and his interaction with his co-workers led his manager to place Flanagan on a succession of performance improvement plans. Only slight improvement was noted each time. Flanagan was placed on a final warning in December 2012 for failure to check his facts in a news story and generally for poor news judgment. In January 2013, he accused one of the news photographers here of making trouble for him by questioning a decision to go on private property in pursuit of a story. At that point, in a meeting with a manager and HR. He raised some concerns with HR of perceived unfairness, and those accusations or concerns were immediately investigated and found to be without merit. Shortly after that, he confronted an anchor in the hallway, an anchor who was assigned by a producer to review one of his stories, and he was not happy about that. At that point, management made the determination that it was the appropriate time to separate him from the company. On February 1st of 2013, two news managers and the HR manager notified Flanagan of the decision to terminate his employment. He reacted angrily, telling them that they would have to call the police because he was going to make a stink and it was going to be in the headlines. The HR rep then called 911. Employees had been notified to give Flanagan space to clean out his desk. Once at his desk, Flanagan attempted to reach the corporate CEO without success. At that point, the police arrived and escorted him from the building. On the way out, he handed a wooden cross to the news director, who was at that time Dan Dennison, and he said, "You'll need this." He also made a derogatory comment to Adam Ward, the news photographer whom we lost yesterday, as he left. The only contact between WDBJ-7 and Flanagan after that were routine calls to HR about termination benefits. Shortly thereafter, Flanagan filed a complaint of harassment and discrimination with the Equal Opportunity Employment Commission. WDBJ-7 responded that his claims of mistreatment were unfounded, and the EEOC denied the claim based on all of the evidence that we provided. He later filed a civil action in local court in Roanoke. That action was dismissed. In 2.5 years since the termination, WDBJ-7 employees reported seeing Flanagan in public places, and there were no confrontations. He was never seen following employees, and he did not attempt to enter the offices of WDBJ-7. All claims of mistreatment were investigated by senior management, by our HR representative, Monica Taylor, who is here with Kelly and me today, and with our legal counsel, Victor Cardwell, of the firm of Woods Rogers. All of these investigations determined that no reasonable person would have taken any of the cited instances as discrimination or harassment. I wanted to summarize this in one page for you to make sure that you had this, the timeline and everything we think was pertinent to his employment. That all ended 2.5 years ago, and we are still at a loss to figure out what happened to him in those 2.5 years. But most of our time we are spending focused on the results of his actions yesterday, the loss of Adam and Allison, and our bond with the community, which has been so strong for the last 30 hours or so, with everyone from the community that we can imagine coming in and shaking our hands and reaching out to us, and us reaching back through our media, through WDBJ-7 and our web and mobile outlets, to make sure that we continue to serve the public, as is our mission. That's what I have for you at the moment, but I'd be glad to take questions, and Kelly would as well, and I'll bring in Victor if it's too complicated for me.
Jeff, there's a report in the Guardian that Flanagan was warned that he needed to get mental help before he would be fired, that he was given that warning.
Monica, was it? We know.
To get mental help?
Yeah, we made it mandatory that he seek help from our employee assistance program. Many companies have them. They provide, counseling and other services, and we made it mandatory that he do that.
Did he get that help?
On at least one occasion, right?
He complied.
He complied with what we asked him to do.
Do you know whether he was on any medication?
I do not know that.
Jeff?
I'll start here and then there.
Jeff, Andy Field with ABC.
Hi, Andy.
How are you?
It's been a while.
What advice would you give to other companies that have difficult employees or troubled employees like this? No one ever expects something like this to happen. You've been through this now. Is there anything
Well, you know, almost every reporter I've asked that of, I've asked the question back. First of all, yes, there are probably things we can do. We can probably, you know, screen more. But by and large, we get great employees here. One's going to slip through the cracks every now and then. I'm very proud of our hiring record, and we have a very elaborate program to screen employees at our parent company, Shores Communications, Inc. So I don't know the answer to that question, nor do I think I'm likely to come up with it in the first day after the disaster, Andy. Yes, sir.
You said that the members of your staff ran into him after he was terminated, I guess a couple of years since. You say there was no confrontation, but to be clear, was there any indication he still held some kind of grudge against the company?
It never fed back to me that that was the case. It was a sighting, but it wasn't even a conversation. I think I never heard even of a conversation. Yes, sir.
Jeff, can you tell us, did you have live teams out yesterday after this incident? Have they been out today? Or?
Why don't I ask Kelly to answer that?
We did not have live teams out yesterday, nor do we have them out today, just for an abundance of caution. And I know a lot of other news organizations around the country are wrestling with that. We'll evaluate that as we go, and we'll also consult with our staff and see what their comfort level is with this. Law enforcement has actually reached out to us and said, you know, hey, if you're doing a live shot somewhere, let us know, and we'll be there. We'll help you. So we appreciate that.
While you're up there, can I ask, you guys had the morning show with people who've been through so much. Can you just address the performance of your team since then?
I have the greatest news team. I love each and every one of them, and they have performed so well. I have watched anchors and reporters half an hour before a newscast be crying in the newsroom and then get on that set and deliver the news to the people of Southwest and Central Virginia. They have had to talk about their colleagues and, you know, deal with some difficult situations. I give you the example of our meteorologist this morning found a candy wrapper while on the air that Adam Ward had always eaten and had left somewhere. And it's those kinds of little things that are just kind of getting to us now. My sports director just said to me, I lost it when I walked out and saw his car in the parking lot and saw clothes in there. Every little thing. It's not the big things that get to us, it's the little ones. But the performance of this staff has been incredible. They cry, they hug, and then they get the job done. And that's all I can ask of them right now.
Yes, sir. Hold on. Let me go over here and then over here.
I'm sorry. What can you say about the community support, how it's trickled in, and give us some examples of ways that the community has stood together?
Well, we've had church services held, and there are more planned. We have had people come with flowers. There's another bouquet of flowers arriving. We have had countless deliveries of food, which we really appreciate. Our people have, this newsroom moves on its stomach, okay? And the people here have appreciated that. I have 819 emails. I have, all my voicemail boxes are full, and it's all with people reaching out. And there are two communities. One is this community here, which we so love and strive to serve. The other is the greater journalism community, and we have heard from organizations on every continent. I just talked a little while ago to Scott Pelley, who offered to do anything he could, and we are just gratified by the support from the world of journalism and broadcasting as well in trying to do our job. Yes, sir.
In reference to his claim of racial discrimination, can you talk about the diversity of your family?
We work very hard to try to reflect our community. Diversity does not just refer to race. Diversity refers to education, age, height, ethnic background, all those things that make us a melange, make us a mixture of people. We do not tolerate any attitude of illegal discrimination, harassment, or anything that makes the workplace other than a safe place to work. We have terminated employees for violating that standard, and we would again. I am absolutely certain that nothing like that happened in this case, and that it was in the imagination and perhaps the preconception and pre-planned attitudes of the fellow in this case. Yeah.
Jeff, Tom Gisto with ABC News.
Hi, Tom.
In the manifesto, Flanagan mentions being berated by a cameraman passing a cornfield on the way to Smith Mountain Lake. Are you familiar with that incident? Was Adam the cameraman? And do you think that may have had significance in the location of the shooting?
I have no idea what the significance of the location of the shooting was, so I can't comment on that. I know that there were a number of incidents he cited. I don't recall that one specifically, and I don't recall whether Adam was the photographer on that. I do know from everything we've said and we've learned that Vester's behavior annoyed a lot of people in the newsroom, not just photographers, producers, other reporters, anchors, and managers, and that and so he could have been berated, but it was almost certainly in response to something he was doing. And I would defend the actions of every person who was in that newsroom when he was here, because I saw the way he behaved, and if anything, but let me just leave it at that. I saw the way he behaved.
Jeff,
Yeah, John.
sorry about everything.
Thank you, John.
Jeff, we could go back to
Hold
the
on.
moment for just a second. Jeff, is there any indication from staff who may have seen this developing that they even knew that there was someone standing there, or that it was Vester, or did they have no idea? Can you walk up after the live shot had already started? Is there any indication how that might have played out?
Well, we haven't talked to Vicki Gardner and about that specifically. She's still in recovery and has some recovery to do. So all we can rely on is what we saw in that video, which was that he was standing there for a few seconds somewhere off to the left of Adam, and it's a mystery to me why he stood there for a while and then took action. But I don't know that it's a mystery we're ever going to have the answer to. Do you have an opinion, Kelly?
Well, I think as all of you know very well, we're all trained to stand in front of the camera, hold camera presence, and ignore people who come around us, because generally they're just looking to see what's going on. And I think, in that case, certainly from the video that aired on our morning show, we saw Adam go down and then we heard a scream. So there's probably some indication that at the very last moment, Allison may have recognized what was going on. Adam probably did not, since his back was turned to the shooter. I think they had very little notice, and I think they probably were not. They were not even aware. But we understand that the authorities are still investigating. They're still trying to put together a crime scene as to what exactly happened, and I guess we'll know more then.
For Kelly or Jeff, Brian Todd from CNN. Hi. Do you have any indication how the shooter might have known that Allison and Adam were going to be at that location at 6:45 in the morning?
Well, it was not something that we necessarily promoted, but that is a 2-hour program, and it is conceivable that if someone saw their first hit on the air, which was probably about 5:10, they could get from wherever they were to Smith Mountain Lake. And with that program continuing on for another good, hour and 50 minutes, they could get to where they were by the time the shooting happened, even if they were leaving from Roanoke. But again, we don't know. We don't know, and it's still under investigation.
Kelly or Jeff, would you mind describing the hiring process for Bryce? What kind of screening he went through, and were you in contact with his previous station?
our HR team followed up on references, a variety of sources, and they all came back positive. One of the things I want to say about that is that it's very hard to get a negative reference these days. Most companies have policies that forbid their people from giving references, and so what you get a lot of is name, rank, and serial number. But those references that we did get back were positive, and I think anybody can make positive references happen if they try hard enough. So we exhausted what we could on that. The next part of the process is to be screened by the news management team for his writing ability and his on-air performance ability and all of that. And I don't think he was the strongest applicant we've ever had, but he passed muster of our news management team at that time. And it's very similar to the process we've used time and time again that has produced outstanding journalists. I want to clarify something I just asked my lawyer. I said, have you picked up on anything yet? And he said, make sure that people understand that when we send somebody to the employee assistance program, or when they reach out, that can be for any number of reasons. It doesn't necessarily signal any kind of mental health issue, although it can. It can also be for family assistance, financial problems, or what have you. And I think he had a number of issues that caused us to think that the EAP would be a good place for him to go.
Mental health one of them?
I don't think we identified that he had mental health issues. We certainly identified that he had performance issues, and one of the reasons we send people to professionals maybe to help them sort that out. But we didn't say you have mental health issues, go to the EAP. I believe we said you have performance issues and issues working with your colleagues, and for that we want you to get some outside help.
Can you tell me, were you contacted in the years since he was fired by any potential employers about hiring him?
I don't think I was. Have you been, Monica? No.
So could you speak to, I know we heard a little of a statement from his family, the Shears family. Has that family reached out to you all at all in any way other than that written paragraph that's circulating around? And did you get any indication from them that they thought he was extremely troubled at all?
I haven't seen the statement, I must say. Has anybody else seen the statement?
It was sent to our newsroom.
Okay, our newsroom's received it. I don't think we've had any other contact from the family, have we? It's great to have the whole team out here to be able to fact check what I'm saying. Yes, sir.
Mr. Flanagan indicated somewhere that he, with pride, I believe, that he settled, that the station settled with him over his allegations in the lawsuit. Is that true? And if so, can you specify what the settlement might have consisted of?
In the actual, I'm not at liberty to say whether we settled or what we settled for. In the hypothetical, I will say that we don't settle for significant amounts.
But in the interest of the question asked earlier about what advice you could give to other companies, perhaps your settlement, if it was too small or too large, might have some bearing on this terrible situation.
I don't think so, because if there were a settlement in a case like this, it would have been accepted by the individual, and that almost always puts the issue to rest. But that's hypothetical in this case. I'm not going to discuss the nature of any settlement.
Mr. Martin, just to clarify.
Yeah.
I understand that people can go to this employee assistance program for a variety of reasons.
Yeah.
But you wanted him to go specifically because of his behavior, correct?
Yes, behavior and performance issues. Yeah, but behavior, the anger and the inability to work with his colleagues from time to time.
Sir,
Yeah.
where do you go from here as a newsman?
We march together, putting one foot in front of the other, mourning our loss, never forgetting Allison and Adam, and realizing that they died in the performance of their duty, and we are not going to shirk that duty as we go forward. Our job is to cover the soft stories like tourism at Smith Mountain Lake, and our mission is also to cover the hard stories like child abuse. We did the 1 hour special last week and chat and all of those other pieces we did. on child abuse. We are committed to the hard stories and the stories that make this area special, and there is no pulling back from that. We go forward. We learn, we go forward.
So, moving forward, part of that
Yeah.
is going to be addressing lots of things with the mirror because the newsroom is now intrinsically tied to the story. You're going to have a vigil out here tonight from gun control activists.
Mhm.
How difficult does it make it when the newsroom is actually part of the puzzle?
We've been talking about that.
You know, it's certainly a challenge, but I think our journalists are up for the challenge, and they realize that there will be a political side to this as gun control is discussed as part of this, and we will cover this story as we cover any story. We'll report both sides of it, and we will do it accurately and fairly, and that's really all we can do. They're trained as journalists, they're trained to look at both sides, and that's the way we'll handle it, despite the fact that this is an issue for us. We have people in the newsroom, I'm sure that if you polled them, would come down on one side or the other of that issue, and these are the same people that are going to be covering it and getting both sides of the story. I don't think this is going to be an issue. I think these journalists will rise above this.
I'll take one or two more, and then if you have any follow-ups, we'll try to address them. Anybody else?
Adam's fiance?
What do you know about Melissa?
Adam's fiance is obviously in tremendous grief. It is, it is bad enough to find out that your fiance is shot. It's worse to be the producer of the show where that happens live. We are all, and I would ask you on behalf of the family to respect their privacy. This is a really, really difficult time for her, and she has family around her right now and is really doing the best she can to cope. This will be a long, long recovery for her, and we are going to wrap our arms around her and hold her like we are doing with everybody else.
One more? Anybody? Well, thank you for letting us do this all at once, and for letting us share with you what we feel is pertinent. I want to echo with what Kelly was implying, was that this is all about loss and grief and moving forward in service to the community and our connection to the community. This is less about a dead man who made two other people dead, except to the extent that there may be any lessons to learn. But that will take time. This is the day after, and tomorrow is the day after the day after, and it's just going to take time for us to heal and for all of us in the Roanoke area and to deal with this. And I want to just, for the moment, remember them with fondness and appreciation for the people they were and what they meant to our news organization. Take care, and thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you all. Really appreciate it.